Welcome to the show and happy weekend. I hope you guys are doing phenomenal, having a great Saturday. I know a lot has happened in the market in the past 4 days in this Bitcoin crash or correction, and I want to jump on here and let you know exactly the price targets I am looking at both to the downside and to the upside, and to present you with some overwhelming statistics as to why I am very bullish right now. Spoiler alert, I'm not bearish at all. In fact, I usually only break out the all-time high vodka for all-time highs, but this occasion in this correction also calls for a good drink. Just relax, stay cool, calm, and collected. So grab your favorite drink, grab the popcorns. This episode is going to take you through exactly what you need to know in the coming days to months, how I'm playing this, and how you can play this to potentially make life-changing wealth within this next year. So, as you know, I got my party vodka. This is our vodka brand, ATH all-time high. I cannot wait to launch in Q1. It does have a token. It is a Web3 play, and it's already in Costco, London. It is a premium vodka, 8 times distilled. So I am having a vodka Fantasero Zero in Spain, and it's absolutely delicious. So this is my drink of choice today. Cheers to you guys for just being phenomenal, sticking it through, staying the course, and the overall good vibe in the community despite all the seemingly negative factors happening, which makes me believe that we are very close to the low, both price-wise and time-wise. Now, Jerome Powell came out this past week in a FOMC meeting ahead of the Fed to deliver news that seemed hawkish or bearish to some, but actually is hiddenly quite bullish. What it was that we cut interest rates by 25 basis points, which was expected, although he did say that they'll be more cautious in rate cuts in the following year, 2025. Instead of the projected 3 to 4, we will probably be getting 2 rate cuts. Now, people took that at face value to be hawkish and bearish for the market, although actually it is quite bullish as there is no fear of recession in that case. So I'm going to dive deep into that in this episode, as well as my line in the sand price target for this correction and where I think we'll be in January, because at the end of the day, that is all that matters. We need to zoom out a little bit, stay cool, calm, and collected, like the savvy investor that you are watching this channel, of course. And on that note, my name is Megan Nilsson, aka Crypto Megan, and cheers to you guys. Let's get right into it. All right, so first thing, I'll be letting you know my targets according to some indicators that I've looked at, as well as one of my favorite analysts, Eric Crown, coming into this next week and over the weekend, and why this correction, not crash. See, it's a correction because in bull markets like 2017, Bitcoin corrected up to 30%, 6 times. Guys, we gotta buckle up. Like I said in the last episode, if you want those exponential gains, you've got to stomach these 30 to 40% pullbacks. If you don't have cash on the sideline, just sit back, relax, grab a drink, and hang out with me. Okay, let's all just chill, stay cool, calm, and collected, and that's it. So now, that being said, we've already corrected quite a bit. Where do I believe we'll be headed? Well, 2 key factors that Eric Crown gave in his most recent analysis was that the 618 on the daily, which is Bitcoin's golden pocket, loves that, is at $103,500. Now, we could be seeing a bounce. We're currently seeing a slight bounce. We could get a bounce all the way up to that level, but if we fail to break through that level, it could be another lower high, and we could be going down for one more flush out from $86,000 to $88,000. So prepare now. I'm telling you, brace yourself, because we might get that, but I believe that would be the ultimate low for this portion of the cycle, and then we would be going on to see much greener pastures. So if that does happen, it would be a phenomenal opportunity. Altcoins would also probably continue to correct. So I've deployed 30 to 40% capital already on this bounce, and I'm waiting to see if we do get that final flush out before going forward. And I'll go over all the factors, not only charts, but news and past cycles and everything. So please do stay to the end, because it's so valuable. It's valuable information, and it helps you have conviction of where you're going. And it's so necessary. I'm also going to be telling you what I've been doing, including buying NFTs, which are in that point of the cycle that they were in last time, where they're right about to explode, in my opinion. They already started to. So That being said, also, I'm going to have a look now at one of the top traders that was just on Eric Crown's channel, who gives an interesting analysis that lines up with a lot of my indicators and thoughts as well. So let's have a look at that, and then we'll go on into the charts from Capital Mindset. You all know the alpha trading group that I just became part owner in, and I am so happy to be there. There's so much value in that group. We'll be doing a lot for all of our members as much as we possibly can. So do sign up. The link is in the description below, and let's have a listen.
So for me, I'm looking at 118 to 146 sometime in the first quarter, then a drop to this trend line to around 95 in June. And then after that, then we have this next rally up all the way up to, I have a couple of fibs that overlap here around 195 or so. And I think that's where I think I'm going to take profit if it rallies up to that point. I think you can get it all the way up to 210 as a minimum, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But I would definitely take profit off of my model here that would say that overlap of those Fibonacci levels is going to be the spot for me to take profit. Now, the 61.8% level at 155 could kind of come into consideration with this, if this kind of all works out the way it should and that kind of thing. But the main thing is I just want to let people know what I'm looking at based on local top in the first quarter at 146 probably. But if not, 118. And then we'll just have a much longer period of correction. If it only gets to 118, if it gets to 146, I think we'll get a little bit more of like a quicker zigzag type pattern into June. It just depends on where you hit in that first quarter, really. But I'm just taking it from the middle. So I just want to kind of lay out some of those levels that I'm looking at going forward. So 192 would be kind of that level or 195 would be kind of that one level that I would really like to see as a local top. But I think you could get higher than that. But that's the spot where I would probably be taking some profit if it gets up to that point.
Okay, so he's talking about a Q1 price for Bitcoin anywhere from 118 to 146, $146,000. That's right. And then going into a correction into the June period where we could go revisit that $95,000 level, and even the mid 80s, 85 to 86K is a huge area of support that continues to come up in multiple indicators. So if we don't see that flush down now to that level, maybe we will, some point in 2025. He's talking about a June correction. Actually, now, if we're having more extended consolidation and correction here, I believe that instead of ending this bull cycle a little bit earlier, that we could end where our original cycles indicated in sometime in October or November 2025. So that's what we have to look forward to. So that being said, if that's really true, and these are fib-based charts, time-based charts, I really love to look at the Fibonacci levels on both time-based trends as well as, just the levels, because Bitcoin loves certain areas and it does tend to correct and extend to them. So that being said, if we're going to go down to $86,000 to $88,000, man, just close your computer, walk away, go touch some grass, hang out with your family, come back in January, and all will be right again with the world. This is just a case of like zooming out, looking at past cycles, and understanding how the cycles ebb and flow. Okay, so let's dig in a little bit more into whether or not the crypto bull run is over. So I think you all know that I don't believe it's over, but I want to give you the reasons. I don't want to give you fish. I want to teach you to fish. So let's dig into what Virtual Bacon says. I really love his form of analysis. Is the crypto bull market over? Markets are panicking after Bitcoin fell from 108K to 96K in 48 hours. But don't be fooled, this is not the end. Bitcoin's down 10% after a 54% pump in 40 days. 54. I mean, that's huge. This isn't a crash, it's a healthy consolidation. Yes, this is bullish if we want this cycle to last longer. Key support levels remain intact, 80,000 on the 21-week EMA and 73,000 on 200 daily EMA. Even a wick to these levels wouldn't break bull market structure. Now, again, I gave targets of 85 to 86,000, mid-80s. As a worst case scenario, if we get a lower low after this lower high, if we don't break above 103,050, why the panic then? Markets always overreact to FOMC announcements. Powell's hawkish tone delayed the money printer quantitative easing, but the big picture hasn't changed. The U.S. economy is stable with unemployment dropping from 4.2 to 4.1. That's right. Our economy is stable. He's saying there's not a fear of recession. So it's long-term bullish, and we don't want to think in terms of days or hours. We want to zoom out to get those bigger gains, guys. Let's break down the data. The Fed cut rates by 25 basis points as expected. They'll pause rate cuts in early 2025 to monitor inflation. Inflation is 2.75% higher than the Fed's 2% target, delaying quantitative easing. Unemployment is stable, signaling economic resilience. Here's the important part. Powell's cautious approach delays a recession. Historically aggressive rate cuts signal economic trouble. Reminiscent of 2008 or 2020. By moving slowly, the Fed buys time for the economy to stabilize, which is great for risk on assets. So it's not been canceled, it's been delayed, which is great for us. We have time to make more money and put more money into the market. That is how you should be thinking as a savvy investor. What about the money printer? Quantitative tightening continues when the Fed reducing its balance sheet, but this won't last. The US debt crisis ensures QE's return. It is inevitable. Once QE begins, Bitcoin and crypto will explode. The timing is everything. Okay, so he goes on to talk about, if Bitcoin is your focus, dips like this are buying opportunities, even at 97K. The structure remains bullish. Higher highs and higher lows are intact. The last local support is 94K, and as long as Bitcoin stays above 79K, the uptrend is strong. Just zero in on that. And if you don't care about Bitcoin and you're only trading altcoins, it's also important because we need a stable Bitcoin for altcoins to thrive. And I'll get to altcoins next. Altcoins, however, are more volatile. Bitcoin dropped 10%, but most altcoins fell 20 to 30, which is also normal. That is absolutely true. Stay cautious. If Bitcoin drops further, your alts will too. So what I'm doing instead is just I have 50 to 60% on the sideline of the cash that I had ready to deploy on dips, ready to go if we go further down. All right, avoid leverage. Be prepared for Bitcoin to drop 10%, alts at 20 to 30. Historically, the best gains come during periods of uncertainty like this. After the FOMC dust settles, here's what to expect. Bitcoin will consolidate. Altcoins will follow once Bitcoin stabilizes. The next major rally aligns with the Fed policy QE. Bitcoin's bull run often correlates with the Fed's balance sheet. When QE resumes, Bitcoin altcoins skyrocket. Until then, patience. Patience. Summarize. It's not the end, it's just a pit stop. The Fed's cautious approach is delaying the inevitable, which is money printing and new all-time highs. Zoom out, stay patient. The best is yet to come. Okay, so that's all you need to hear. Let's get into the charts. This is from Tripp, the lead analyst of Capital Mindset. Like I said in the intro, the link is in the description below. Use Crypto Megan for 10% off. It will change your life, okay? It will change your life. Period. One successful trade pays for itself. We are now posting all the setups of the strongest alts rebounding on, because a lot of times when you see a bounce after a huge correction, you understand which alts are the strongest and have the best pattern. So I'll go over one of those here in a minute. But as you can see here, this could still be a bearish retest. The point of control, 98,000. At the time, we are still under that level at the time of recording. So we got support here at 92,000 and then again at 85. There's that $85,000 level. So don't be surprised if we go down there. Brace for impact, but also then brace for launch, rocket launch into the space. Okay, Bitcoin dominance. This is the chart that I continue to show you. We already hit that December 17th. This was Tripp's chart for Capital Mindset. It's been pretty spot on in all the cycles. Now, if we're, a few days or a few weeks off, it doesn't matter. It's just the overall bigger picture, which signals that we will soon be getting to Bitcoin dominance peak and then slowly trending downward for the rest of the bull market. So, that's what this shows, this 3-day Bitcoin dominance chart, and this is what's happened in previous cycles. So will we repeat something similar? I believe so. Next, the total 3 versus Bitcoin. So this is all altcoins minus Bitcoin and Ethereum versus the Bitcoin chart. And as you can see here, we've just done a very nice retest. Very nice retest. So it's looking really, really bullish. And if you think you're late to party, just look at this chart. We're just now retesting support right where we want to be. Clean breakout, just almost breaking above the 200 moving average. This couldn't be more bullish of a setup, okay? We just need some time. We just need to be a little bit patient here. Algorand is a very strong coin and also one of the coins on Trump's Made in America list that could be exempt from capital gains. So it's got a lot going for it. I interviewed the founder, Stacy, at Proof of Talk, one of the conferences I hosted in the Louvre in Paris. And she is just so brilliant. And what they're building is really cool. And they're working with a lot of institutions. So As you can see here, we are currently around $1.65. It's a buy the breakout around $2.11, and the measured move is $4.74. You don't need to get cute or pretty or buy all the lowest caps you can and just gamble everywhere. Sometimes these bigger setups are all you need, and just like, diversify, and it's just so much easier, guys, right? Like, you can definitely have a little bag or a small percentage for those very low caps, which is fun, but this makes investing a whole lot easier. Now, this is not financial advice. Of course, this is just what I'm doing and how I'm playing these markets. So please remember to do your own research. Now here, cough, cough. Okay, so they're saying this like as if we don't know that a correction could be imminent and that everybody's going to be taken by surprise, but not on this channel. So this is the M2, global M2 money supply. And Raoul spoke about this a lot. In fact, he did a pretty good call when we were like around right here and the money supply was going up, but Bitcoin had not yet caught up with it and it followed it to a T. And here you can see that the global money supply is going down, so less liquidity, but Bitcoin hasn't yet kind of mirrored that or caught up to it. So that could signal an imminent further correction, but we know the levels, we know what to expect, and we're not going to freak out, are we? Okay, Raoul, speak of the devil. Stop overthinking this chart. If we get a correction in January, it'd be normal. Will it be from 120K? Who knows, and who cares? In 2017, when Trump last got in, we saw a correction of 30% in 8 days, and then it rallied. Many alts never corrected. Volatility is normal. See, that's the thing. At some point, Bitcoin is going to reach its peak in Bitcoin dominance, and that profit is going to flow into altcoins. And I believe we're on the precipice of that happening, if not starting to happen already. So it's important to get positioned now. Please, I'm begging you, please think about it at least, because it is just such a huge opportunity. Just have a look at it if it's within your strategy, if you do have money on the sideline. And yeah, so... And then, of course, this is just like really fun, right? Jim Cramer says, you always had to buy the fear, not sell it. I've studied every faux shutdown since the time of Bill Clinton. You always had to buy the fear. I mean, this is just general investment advice, right? Like just sentiment, buy the fear, sell the greed. It's so hard to do in practice, but so simple to say. But yeah, the funny thing about this is Bitcoin corrected quite a bit more after Jim Cramer put this out. So never fails, never fails. We love his top and bottom signals, inverse signals. And shout out to all you crypto guys, and girls and everyone in this space who's just like sitting there like, this is fine. This is fine. How many times have we been through this? I mean, how many things have we been through in this industry and we made it out resilient as hell? I mean, this market, you guys, we can't be stopped. We're like unbreakable, right? We just keep going. We are the believers and now we're getting rewarded. We deserve it, but we've got to be patient, okay? No meme better captures the crypto ethos than this is fine. When everything is on fire, down 30%, FUD everywhere, real OGs sip on their coffee and know that at the end of the day, they will be right and shit will be fine. Absolutely. That's what it's about. And then you've got people on the opposite side of the spectrum, like Michael Saylor, who's coming out saying things like this. Master, shorts don't know this. If Bitcoin crashes and goes to $1, we're not going to get liquidated. We're going to buy it all. Let's hear it.
A lot of people don't really think. They're like, oh my God, MicroStrategy is going to get liquidated. At Bitcoin, it's like, well, dude, no, Bitcoin could go to $1 a Bitcoin. We're not getting liquidated. We're just going to buy all the Bitcoin. If it goes to $1 a Bitcoin, then it's going to go back up again.
Epic, pretty epic. There's a lot of theories about MicroStrategy. We're not going to get into that here, but he has been the champion of this cycle and has kind of taken us from Bitcoin's adolescence to Bitcoin's maturity phase. And it's been a fun ride. Elio Trades, end of December 2020 vibes with alts. Study your history, kiddos. Altcoin sentiment last cycle when Bitcoin was at 20K all-time high. Okay, let's check it out. Not comfortable at all seeing Bitcoin move and alts dead like shit. That's why alts will move. Alts are dead, sir. Yeah, alts are dead till further notice. So it's kind of like that in-between phase where you're not quite sure. Like, are alts going to continue to bleed out or are they about to start outperforming? And it's the same sentiment. I mean, it's really a mirror image. If you see previous cycles, history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes, and it definitely is rhyming this time again so far. This is fun too. Vivek, waiting for the new headline. Bitcoin crashes from 300 to 235,000. Because CZ says, new headline. Bitcoin crashes from 101,000 to 85,000. Save the tweet. I mean, and that was 2020, okay? And that was him saying it like as if that was so far off. And now look at us. Here we are doing this exact same thing. Save the tweet. It's really cool to see. And then Altcoin Daily comes out saying, I'm waiting for the new headline. Bitcoin crashes from 1.1 million to 700K. hey, save the tweet. I mean, yeah, this is just essentially the trajectory. So if you're ever having one of those days where you're doubting or you're scared or you're worried, just look at history, okay? Bitcoin crashes to prices, Bitcoin crashes to prices not seen since last week. Yeah. A lot of people get way too zoomed in, too over leveraged. It's not the way to play these markets. It's much, much simpler than that. I approach it as a long-term investor, and I'll be taking profits maybe end of Q1 throughout the end of the year. And that's just my strategy. It always has been, and I'm sticking to my strategy and just trying to buy the dips where I can. Then this guy, this is actually concerning considering the most recent crash was only 50%. If Bitcoin goes down 30%, that would put it around 75,500. Okay, so then we have Crypto Rover here saying, excuse me, Bitcoin has corrected so many times. I mean, this is 2017 bull run, and it corrected 38%. I mean, over 30% or 30%. What is this, 6 times here? So yeah, I mean, this does happen and it will happen, and it's healthy in a market because you can't go straight up. So just brace for impact, and that's it. And then we have here 2023, Bitcoin crashes 16K. 2024, Bitcoin crashes to 95K. I mean, that really puts things into perspective. Soon, Bitcoin crashes to 600,000. Hodl. Okay. And this is just talking more about the FOMC summary. I already kind of went over this, how it's actually bullish that we're not going to get as many rate cuts as we expected. Fed still selling assets, money printer not injecting liquidity yet. Powell shifts to signal slow rate cuts in 2025. Short-term panic today due to uninformed investors. That's right. Uninformed, panicking investors. Long-term bullish. We need to slower rate cuts to signal delayed recession. Fast cuts are bad. Inflation will still be high, which is good for the risk on assets. Yes. And then we have Raoul Powell. Feels like a big fight over the debt ceiling is brewing. This means the TGA is going to be drawn down and reverse repo top. QT probably ends with the RRP drain. That's a very positive liquidity story for Q1. Next, we need a weaker dollar. So yeah, it's interesting. So signaling that a weaker dollar could actually be a better negotiating position for the U.S. And then we have JD Vance here, on the government shutdown saga. What I love about JD Vance is he's very direct, he's no BS, and he just gets straight to the point. So let's see what he had to say.
Democrats just voted to shut down the government, even though we had a clean CR, because they didn't want to give the president negotiating leverage during his first term, or during the first year of his new term. And number two, because they would rather shut down the government and fight for global censorship bullshit. They've asked for a shutdown, and I think that's exactly what they're going to get.
Republicans. I love how he says global censorship bullshit. I mean, there's just no frills with this guy. I really am a fan of JD Vance. I mean, it's not about right or left to me. It's just about the way he carries himself, his demeanor, his directness, but also his the way that he speaks. I like it. I think it's interesting. So yeah, we did avoid a government shutdown. That's the most recent news. But yeah, I mean, a transfer of power is never going to be a bed of roses, never going to be all smooth and smooth sailing. We're going to have a lot of turbulence before Trump comes into power, and you just have to accept that. I mean, we're getting such major changes in the world, including all of the crypto, the Bitcoin strategic reserve, which is set to be put in motion in Q1 potentially. What will that do to the price? I mean, there's so many bullish factors ahead. The turbulence in the near term is just mere noise that will look like a blip on the radar. So last but not least, I just want to show you this chart, and I'm specifically showing you the Mutant Ape Yacht Club chart because it's the chart that I was kind of going by and what I bought last cycle, and just to show you where I believe we are in NFTs. Now, if you are interested in this, fantastic. I just bought a little pudgy of beans from the Azuki collection. I'm looking at a V1 CryptoPunk as well as a few others. The Mochaverse, I just bought that one, and it's gone up literally 1.5 ETH in a span of 2 days, and the Mocha coin is taking off like crazy. So that's one that I looked into that I saw was really interesting because you get to stake the Mocha for staking power that then you can burn for the chance to get allocation in token drops related to the Mocha ecosystem. Super bullish. I mean, there's a lot happening. And with the launch of Pudgy and now potential airdrop for OpenSea coming up in the near term for Doodles, for World of Women, world of possibilities coming. So if you look at this last cycle, we just started to have our first tick up on Mutant Apes around November. Things kind of like leveled out, and then starting the beginning of December, we began to have our descent. By December 27th, so as you can see here, December 13th, Mutant Apes were around 7.45 ETH. By end of December, they had already doubled and then reached their peak in January here. End of January had a slight correction and then maximum top end of April. So I think this is an interesting chart for NFTs. I think we could follow something similar, maybe not the same time horizon, but I do believe we're on that precipice of starting our ascent in certain collections and that we're starting to bubble up and people are starting to pay attention. So just wanted to put that on your radar. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. It gave you some insight, calmed you down if you had any nerves, and I hope you just are having an amazing day or evening wherever you are in the world. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and I'll see you tomorrow.